I'll be honest, this song is getting on my nerves. So let's not listen to it. There we go. Let's sit in the nice and quiet of everything. I don't feel great. In fact, I'm feeling sicker than before. And I'm emotionally very, very, very bad, so I'm just going to see if I can get 200 lines out. At the very least, get the bare bones out of there, you know? Because that way I won't look back and I'll feel even worse for not having done anything. Because that's important to remember. If you feel bad, you're just going to feel worse if you don't do something. I guess a glass bottle. It's a cork, too. It's not like a cap or anything. What a weird way to do it. I guess they would want thick glass bottles that don't break easy. And sturdy corks instead of plastic. I just don't feel so good. I don't know why I feel worse. Wait, are we almost there yet? Is it within 200 lines? No, this could easily be another episode. Wow. Why the fuck are there so many lines of nothing? Oh yeah, because she's just groaning. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on at the state, man? Dating Emera will be weird. She wouldn't want to date you, is the point. Because it's basically established that she doesn't want to date you because she doesn't want someone she can't have kids with, you know? Like, maybe for the hoot of it, but she's done with the hoots, you know? She's just trying to finish up, really. Oh, her fucking elbows. Like, god damn it. Like, god damn it. Like, she's just like, yeah, I'll take care of this. Like, she asks for help, but at the same time... Those ones on her neck are weird. Why'd you have them on your neck? That's like the weirdest... Like, I get having armor plating on your back, but spikes on your neck? That just seems like a great way to lose out on a mate. Depends on how they want to do it, though. Or how they want to hug, you know? Like, you could want to hug someone like that, and they jump on your back, and they're like, ow, my neck! Why are those there? I just wanted to hug you. The thing I like is, actually I don't like this too much. Someone decided to do this. Someone decided to, yeah, it's the double elbows. Yeah, someone decided to make a mod where there's like little face pictures next to the text boxes. A, I don't think that's gonna fit too well, and two, do you really have to when characters are usually on the screen at all times? Okay, a character acts like he's an experienced brusher. Just fucking mirror in her office, too. Not even a hand mirror, just a mirror. Why is that mean? Why is that called mean? Oh, because she's sharp. She's like, I'm such a witch, sure. Yeah, maybe not really is a bit of a spineless answer. You don't say that to someone like that. I need to find some good music to put on, because it always is a bit nicer with some music in the background. Something nice and atmospheric. To keep the mind somewhat flowing. I do have a whole bunch of ambience, but I don't want to pull it up right now. It takes a bunch of stuff to get that stuff sorted out. Say it with a bit more spine. Ruggengraat. It's a really annoying word. Let me look it up, because it really is an annoying word. Ruggengraat. It's got a bunch of G's in there, and they're very prominent. Rug. Is it only with one? Oh, come on, you can do this. Oh, it's ruggengraat. God damn it. So, here's the thing. This is an annoying little thing. There are situations in which, like the pannenkoek, for example, and koekenpan, and groentenboer, where you have words and you don't know if you have to do the E, just the E, or an N, and I think there's like a whole bunch of fucking words. Okay, let's look it up. Koeken, pan, groentenboer. Let's look it up. Yeah, see, here's just a fucking, oh man. Spelling. Genootschap Onze Taal. Thank you, Genootschap Onze Taal. Here we go. No. Oh, this is just specifics. Fuck, I don't want specifics. I want, like, the contextual stuff. Yeah, but I don't think there's any real major, like rules behind it. I think it's just whatever it wants to be. This might be it. This is for a school form. Oh, that's the way it works, huh? Yeah, because you don't say koeken. You never say koeken. But then why would it be koekenpan? God damn it! And both are fine! God damn it, it's so confusing. See what I mean? See what I mean? No, no, it is not. Let me be perfectly fucking honest about this. You are a faded green wearing dark red. That isn't too like, go with a bit more faded red and it would work. But actually it's not bad. Like, it's not neon, but it's still a bit clashing. Like, it could be a bit more, a bit more sassy, a little more stylish, especially with your fucking third and second neck. I love how the line doesn't properly connect. Oh, and that one doesn't either. Don't zoom in on art, people. You'll never find what you like. I love how the pearls are a bit inconsistent. You'd be surprised. Actually, are pearls always perfectly round? Who knows? Eyebrows. One of my big weaknesses right now is a lot of things, including eyebrows and this facial structure. So I'm going to take that as a learning moment. Because this structure is awkward. In fact, I've been looking at my hands and at, like, people's faces. It just looks awkward. It's not just my art that looks weird. This is just how faces tend to look. Very weird and awkward. Although this does not make any sense. Like, this goes off to the side. This one goes straight down. Meaning that there's a giant angle somewhere on the right side of her face. Just saying. Put in enough thought, Put in enough. Enough is enough. If you're going to go realistic, then good luck ever finishing, but if you're not, just enough. Enough that if someone looks at it for a minute, doesn't go, but that's wrong. Like, this is fine. That looks fine. Although, it's kind of awkward that it sticks in here, because that means there's a huge area where, like, like, mold could form. Gotta clean behind your ears, Actually, you should just clean behind your ears regardless. But yeah, back to the color. Could be worse. Like, they look to be about the same vibrancy. Like, the tone is very similar, and that's probably the thing that's saving it. Because you don't mix red and greens too much unless you know what you're doing. Which apparently she does, which is surprising. I wonder if she has an assistant for that. Or if she figured out on her own, then that's some high-level knowledge on color for someone who doesn't seem to give a shit about anything. Or maybe it came up in her studies, who knows. It does not go well with her jewelry, though. Because the red goes well with it, but I guess the yellow works, but really with the consistent thing. The blue and silver, however, don't work as well, because I know everything's a bit faded, but the blue pops out a bit more as a result, and then you got more of this red, and the pearls, I don't know. Like, if your faded colors don't go for pure whites, it looks a bit too strong. It tends to make everything look more faded, you know? Like, you put that thing out of the frame, and she suddenly looks a lot more vibrant. But pull it in, and she looks more faded. And the horn already is kind of a strong color. Like, you gotta know what you're doing. Especially with all these little blue tips, which aren't properly... That's a bitch to do, though. Like, getting blurring... Like, this is done in Psy. It just has to be. Or this will be done with a proper blur tool. And probably with less small color divots. Ooh. Ooh. Like... This is the base, you know? This is the base picture. You could spend a little more attention making sure that these little details are more consistent than that. Why is she doing that with so many brush strokes? You do know you can make a blur brush inside, right? The way you make one is you just make a blend brush that doesn't do anything. I can show you that right now. Fuck, but then I have to pull up in a page and people might get angry if I do that. Well. I mean, look how good this looks. That's a really nice horn. The eyes look really good. You got a really strong shading here. This looks a bit but whatever. That's just like a little mistake. And this looks really nice. Like here, the little individual brush strokes really add an interesting pattern, a little bit of texture to it. But then you got these. Like come on, just pull out a brush. Just pull out a blur brush. They exist. You don't have to always do the fading brush technique, you know. Like here, it looks like clearly some sort of blur brush has been used because it looks stronger here than down there. Enough with the art critique. I need to write. We're going up to 1100 or something like that. They aren't naturally white either? Then what are they? It's kind of interesting that dragons have a conception of, like, makeup and jewelry. Yeah, that's a very human thing. And it's, yeah, it's a very consistent human thing to want jewelry, too. It's kind of odd. Where are your fancies to show how fancy you are? I guess it does contrast, and it's not a bad contrast, but it's not the kind of contrast you want. It doesn't make things pop. It just kind of, it works, but it doesn't pop. Like, if you contrast, you want to pop. You don't put blue and orange together so that it looks like a gray mess, you know? I might even make 200. That's fine. Some days you're just not into it at all. Someone knocking on the door. Because I had like a dingbat coming in with like a package right before I started to record. And then he came back in and it's like, oh, sorry, I couldn't deliver this at someone else's door. Like, you were gone for 1 minute. How could you be sure they weren't there? I bet your ass that the moment they find someone that is entering the door, they just say, okay, I'm going to wait for 2 seconds and then he's going to deliver it off to someone else's house. That seems to be the technique. The technique, Squidward! The technique! I mean, the thing is, the horns are details. Like, maybe if you're looking head on, like, here's the thing, right? Like, the reason I'm being critical on the coloring being good is the way we're looking at it, it's like all edge details. Like, this is off to the side, these are like hanging off the neck, and these are barely visible. But I think that if you saw the bigger image and this was like on her body, like this is in the middle of her face, it would create a very strong image, I'd say. Like in the middle of her eyes, yeah, that would do something. Like, it would create this strong divide. It would give both her eyes a little bit of power. And now that I'm looking at it, this might actually be makeup, which would actually explain it looking shoddy. Like, putting, like, oh no, it's shoddy. Oh, no. It could just be that she's applying this herself and she sucks at it. Like, that'd be an awesome detail if, like, every single bit of like, this whole thing is, like, her trying to do it. But that would beg the question on why her eyeliner looks so good. Because, man, those are some sharp eyes. Ooh. You know what they say, you can always tell what an artist is good at by looking at the parts that suck. In my case, everything sucks, although some things are getting better. It's a long journey. Like, oh man, I got respect for all the people that are good artists, that got there over the long, troublesome road. I'm getting better. Like, much better than when I started when I started YouTube, I didn't even draw. If I were to go back to Wario Master of Disguise, and I were to draw another thumbnail, it'd be so much better. Like, the whole quality would just be more consistent and more... It would be better. I want to make a video just to draw and see how much better it is. Just to do a doodle and be like, holy shit, what the fuck was wrong with old me? Like, that's why I wanted to do the redraws. Because I wanted to see how much better I'd become. But I don't want to... I just don't know when to do them. You know? Like, I don't know the timing. Where I would feel good about pulling up and sigh and just doodling a bit, you know? Like, that would really have to be its own little thing. And people would have to be interested. I don't know if anyone is interested in that. Because it is just kind of mostly ego-stroking. No, it's not ego-stroking. Considering how much artists are on their own ass all the time, it's more like reassuring that your ego is fine. You are fine. Keep going. I'm glad some people liked the previous video. I'm glad about that because sometimes I go on tangents that I shouldn't go on. Today's tangents have been fine! Yay! Other than insulting the artist who made that picture. But, you know, at least I provided some constructive critique on terms of using a blur brush and that you can make them. And, you know, it also adds some flavor. Like, you're looking at this thing as a whole picture. It's fine. You're not going to see them. And like I always say, it doesn't have to look perfect. You just have to sell it. If you can sell an art piece, if you can sell the drawing, the design, and someone looks at it and goes, I know what that is, I can see what that is, then fine. Mission success. Tiny little details, whatever. This little, doesn't matter. No one's going to notice that. People are going to look at this and they're going to go, that's a dragon. A big, lumpy, fat ass. And you'll be, yes, that is a fat ass. Thank you. Thank you. And you just take a deep bow, and you don't call attention to it. Someone else is going to do it, if you care. I mean, it does have its own flavor, doesn't it? Like, I'm mostly upset by this, because I'm such a neuroticist when it comes to tiny little details like that being left out. Like, that looks so awful. Like, I'm fine with the way it's drawn, it's just that, oh, those little gaps, they annoy me. I wonder how they did it, though. Did they use a density brush, and this is another layer? Did they use actual... No, they're not going to use different colors. That's a pain in the ass to pull off. I like how she has two little horns here. Are those armor flaps like Bryce? They probably are, but they don't look like armors. The thing that gets me is... It doesn't look like armor. It doesn't look thicker or denser or stiffer. It just looks a lot more fluid and feather-like. Bryce waving his little... Man, you know what they should have... Bryce also stick out a lot more. Like, those would catch armor, and you could just chop them off if with the right chop. That's also... that would be kind of useful if you're sticking your gut in someone. And he also has those three... I wonder if those are just traits these kinds of dragons have. Although he does have thicker chest plating. Emera doesn't have any chest plating. The thing that gets me is this doesn't... Like, these things wiggling would look, A, very hilarious, and B, it would... actually, would be a lot of trouble to make that. Still... And it would also be a hell to animate, because I don't think Rempe supports that kind of animation too well. Like, you'd really have to know what you're doing to get that done. Let's see what our Emeras all called. They're called Frown, Laugh, Mean, Normal, and Quest. She's going on a quest. Great. No, I'm going to rephrase this. Remember, by the way, that she's supposed to be going to a meeting and asks you for a massage. As if you have time. Oh wow, you could just meet Emera. It doesn't do anything negative, it seems. Wait, what? Sebastian would die if you don't... Wow, what the this requires additional investigation. To the investigation room! Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. If persistent Sebastian fail is false. So, you get Sebastian killed, but it's not the persistent one either. Like, Sebastian Phil is done with a persistent modifier. Yeah, like, all of these are persistence. Oh, you don't have to see that. So all of these are persistence, but this one is not. So that was probably done very early on. Also, I have all of these open now. I don't need that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh no, you get to see CG Arrival. And what the fuck was that Blue Balls one? I shouldn't have brought that up. But I'm not going to edit that out. If you know where to find them, you know where to find them. And I recommend not looking it up. You want to know why I don't recommend looking it up? Because it's one of those places where I happen to like something that is like the one thing they make that isn't just... You know, like sometimes there's like a person who makes like the most disgusting art and you're like, ugh! And then there's that one time they make something that you're like really into, you're like, oh man, that looks great. Like they always draw like chopped off children head and it looks super realistic and you're like, bleh. And then the one time they draw a nice little park and there's a dude sitting on a park bench and I'm like, wow, what a lovely park bench. I'm going to save that one. And then someone sees the pictures like, I know that guy. What the fuck? And we're like, it's just a park bench. That's great. Those are just the great moments. It sucks if you're looking for more park benches, though. Because then you're like, man, I'm going to look through all these children heads. I don't want to do this. What a hilarious circumstance that would be. Like someone walks in and you're like, I'm just looking for park benches. The shading was so great. It looked like freshly polished varnish. Yeah, Emera is like, she needs to get the fuck going already, and she doesn't do that for some reason. Like, she just sits around like an ass. Maybe she's interested in that. Maybe she knows that she doesn't want to get into a real relationship with you, but she does want to kind of get a feel, so to speak. Like, she wants to see the surface level engagements. Yeah. Yeah, like, that is the thing to say. She is an Earth Dragon. Like, their type must have somewhat gotten adjusted to the life of being a mine worker and all that, so... Not to mention the fact that humans are kind of... They're laying about. She's a bioweapon. She should be wanting to get out there and exercise. I like how like, she's clearly trying to butter you up. You know, she's trying to butter you up a bit. Like, I haven't gotten used to it. You've studied for years! You've run for office! You've assigned Remy, and he's been in that position for long enough to be a fuck-up! Like, how much longer do you need to get used to this? Yeah, I like how she just tells you to fuck off at that point. Yeah, she really sounds like she wants you to turn around and feel bad about yourself, but you don't get the chance. Maybe she doesn't like people that double back on things. Maybe she likes having a little bit of spine. Like, if you were to apologize, she'd probably be like, I don't give a shit about apologizing. I want someone with a spine. Either stick to your decision and go. And if you stick to your decision, she's like, at least you got that going for you. Goed gedaan, makker. She's a very strange lady. Yep, I think I'm going to call it here. I don't feel great. I've made at least 100 lines. And I'm going to stretch. And I'm going to... Fuck, I gotta teach old people how to use computers in 2 hours. It breaks up my week, but I just don't like it. It's gonna be the first time, so I'm actually just really nervous. It'll probably go great. I've got that charm, wink wink. And if they don't, I'll bring up how those dirty little dirtbags are dirting up the place. And then they'll fill in whatever race they have a problem with, and I'll go from there. Like, what kind of angle is that? I'm just going to casually mention that I hate a specific type of person and they'll take care of the rest for me. I'll just fall off from there. You know, I really hate them Eskimos. Eskimos? We're far too down south for Eskimos. Yeah, but they're still taking our jobs. I'm pretty sure the Inuit don't even come to Europe like that. No, you should never talk, never go against them. Always go with the flow. Yeah, the Eskimos, they're common, they all go into Sahara. They're stealing all the jobs in Africa. I just can't stop looking.